Hey guys, it's Lynn, Denise from On Demand Resources. So tonight I'm going to be talking about, is college right for you and your child? So I've been getting a lot of requests to make this video. With entrepreneurship being a hot topic lately in the last few years, people are not sure, what direction they want to go in. I know when I was coming up, a lot of times, teachers would tell you that you either would go to college or you would, get a job, be a blue collar worker, work in corporate. But there was not a lot of talk about entrepreneurship. So, the lanes have changed. Many people are becoming business owners, passing businesses down to their children. Just the topic of generational wealth. So I'm going to go into detail to kind of, give you some things to think about, some questions to ask your child, or just the family conversation about college as a whole. So the first thing I think that you have to consider is, does your child want to go to college? I know, we push things on children or don't really have a conversation with them if they are, in high school, starting from ninth grade, letting them know how important ninth grade is if they are considering going to college. That is a very important year. That's where the transition from middle school to high school, comes in at. That is just very important. I don't think sometimes we know how important it is because it's just not talked about as far as grades go. Like, that is what sets the tone for how the rest of your 4 years are going to go. So if you have a bad ninth grade year with your grades and things like that, it's probably going to be hard to raise your GPA in 10th grade. And a lot of times your kids don't tell you that they're struggling until it's too late. Now they looking for extra credit. And I think as a parent, just being involved and doing homework with kids and staying up, on top of their grades and staying in contact with teachers, you'll be able to get an idea of where they are, where they stand, what they're struggling with, what they're having problems with, and just all those things. When 10th grade comes along, it's usually, a continuation of ninth grade. You may get different teachers, or you may get the same teacher, depending on what, school you're in, what you're studying, and things like that. So, that's when they should be, getting in these summer programs, start signing up for things, start talking to guidance counselors. And with guidance counselors being phased out, this is another reason why, you want to start making sure you get into these college entry programs. Start doing your research now and connecting with programs that provide scholarships, that give you a checklist, a timeline of where your child should be in regards to college. Like I said, if you're, you need to ask the question, do they want to go to college? Because if they do not, then, you may be having a different conversation about jobs, or, do they want to trade and things like that? Or do they want to start a business? I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, that is a reality now. Do they want to start a business? Do you have the funds to start putting away to help them start a business? Right now we are in a time where, you can go viral and things can happen. People are becoming famous overnight. So, there are just many variables. But just talking to them, seeing where they are. I think communication goes a long way when it comes to bullying as well, or just keeping, track and monitoring their mental health. With so much going on social media and all those different things, we just must stay in contact with our child, keeping up with them, keeping track of them, because we're losing them at an alarming rate. Secondly, that if you are considering college for your child, then the conversation needs to come up. Can we afford college? Like, is that something that you can do? Because if you have multiple children, that may not be feasible for you. Many parents do not know what goes into paying for college. When it comes to the FAFSA and filling that part out and college applications. So, you want to start early, even if you're just going to colleges and scouting out ones in your neighborhood or your city or your state and exploring, going to talk to them, figuring it out, and visiting them, seeing what it takes, getting their catalogs and those things to kind of see where you stand with college, being able to afford it, understanding grants, loans, Parent Plus, all those things. And then if you do find that you can afford it, then you want to figure out, do you want them to go in state? Because, you want to figure out, like, if they don't know their major, then you may be able to go in state and get in-state funds and Pell Grants and, well, for Philadelphia, Pell Grants or grant monies for your child to stay in state, and then maybe they could transfer somewhere. I don't always recommend somebody going out of state and they really don't know what they want to do and they're still adjusting. So in that year or two, they can figure out, hey, am I doing well? Is it worth you spending 30 to 40,000 or even 50, 60,000 somewhere for them to go to, if you're in Philadelphia, to Maine or North Carolina, somewhere where they're not doing well, and they're overwhelmed with the whole environment. When you're going away, you're not with your parent. So, there's a little, you're letting them off the leash. You're letting them go to explore who they are, what they like. That's why a lot of kids come back different. They meet new people. They find out things about themselves. So college is a huge adjustment. Then there's the partying that comes along with that too, because you could party, but then you got to balance that. And usually that's why a lot of kids come home, first, second year, because they have a hard time adjusting with not being at home, away from home, and being around other people who, may influence them or things that they've never been exposed to. So, they may not always be able to talk to you, and just finding that work fun balance and things like that. So, if, like I said, figuring out, is it home that, where your kid is going to be going or away? Once you figure that out, that's when you'll start, applying to colleges, start looking up colleges, scholarships as well. Start looking at your kids' transcripts as well. Seeing where they stand. If they need some additional help to help get their GPA up, start talking to the guidance counselor. If they need to take an SAT test. I recommend taking the SAT test in 10th grade. And the reason why is that because that'll give you an idea of where your kid stands. And then you can take it again in 11th grade when that one will count. Take it as early as possible because you'll be able to take another one. By 12th grade, it's really a breeze. Things are, a little late, to be changing your grades and trying to get things like that's really late when it comes to like college. Because you may not even be there. Depending on your work schedule, you may have a little work-ready schedule or something like that. So you may not even be there. Many 12th graders are no longer just in school by that time. It's a short day. So keep that in mind. 11th grade is a pivotal year, as I said, like it's 9th grade. This is when, these are the grades that your colleges are going to be looking for, when they are considering you. You have to decide whether you want to go to a large university or if you want to go to community college or, and then is it faith-based? Do you want to go to a private college? You want to go to Christian college? So all those different variables as well, and really knowing what the mission of the college is. And then, if you're interested in a certain major, whether it be fashion and design, then you want to start looking at those schools, whether it is multimedia, forensic science, because every school does not offer everything. If you're really unsure, you can always go in business as well, entrepreneurship. They are developing more majors every day. To add to to help people narrow down their search. And don't always look at the money. A lot of times people choose a major based on how much money they may make. Oh, I think I can make $100,000 or $200,000 based on this major. I think you first really want to focus on getting through the whole degree, because you may find that you don't like it. The average college student changes their major about 3 times before they graduate, or even more. They get into a degree and find that they don't like what they're doing at all, whether it's nursing or IT. It's boring. They find that they don't like the classes, and then they've wasted some money. So you really just kind of want to really explore what you like. If you have things that you like doing, don't be afraid to stick with that, whether it be art, like I said, fashion design, all those type of things. Also start doing internships. You could do internships now. It doesn't necessarily have to be in college, but during college, you can do internships as well. And another thing I want to touch on is scholarships. Start looking for scholarships now. I don't know if there's a myth that you should only look for scholarships in 11th grade or 12th grade, but then by then it's late, because most people have applied for all those scholarships. While there are scholarships that are, available each year, many people apply. The one thing that I always say to apply to is don't be afraid to apply for essay scholarships. Many people overlook them, and a lot of those monies go to waste because people don't like writing essays. Usually, who does? Unless you're a writer or that's just your interest. But when we're talking about writing that's not fun, people typically don't like to do it, don't know where to start. Even when they give you an essay in school, it's just hard to adjust. So start that now. Start doing practice prompts, practice essays. And if you plan on taking the SATs and taking the writing portion, you'll need those skills as well. And don't think too much into it. When it comes to writing, part of it is planning and brainstorming to get the meat and potatoes of your essay. So you want to make sure that you're brainstorming your ideas, seeing where you want to go with it, making an outline. An outline is very pivotal when writing because it gives you a map of where, you're putting these thoughts, planning them out, and then, introduce yourself. You don't want to lose readers in your introduction because you're not talking about anything. Let them know what the paper is about, the rambling that people do, and then, you lose them. And then they no longer want to hear about what you're writing about. So, you definitely want to make sure you look into that. You can go on Google and type in scholarships. Many fast food places have scholarships, whether it be McDonald's, Starbucks. Now, I do know that with Starbucks, with their scholarship, you can go to school for free, or they will pay your tuition, but it has to be within their college that they have. So that's an option if you do work there. If you work at fast food places, go ask the manager of corporate what scholarships they have. McDonald's, Burger King, Coca-Cola, I'm drawing a blank, but many others, Walmart, Target, many of them, are catering to education. Just continue education. You can also explore your parents' jobs or your jobs. If you work there, your kid may be able to go for free, whether it's Temple, or even if you enroll, there's tuition reimbursement. There are a lot of different options. And if you're an adult, don't be afraid to go back. I'm a stickler for not gauging your goals on somebody else's. I think the goal is to just really cross the finish line as a whole. Like, no matter when you do it, whether you're 20 or when you're 50, these things are on your bucket list and it's something you want to do. And I'm an advocate for further education. It doesn't have to be a, degree, but just learning more, being a lifelong student. So, like I said, that's an option. As far as the college goes, just have a conversation. Don't put that on your child if you find that that's just not an interest of theirs. There are successful working individuals as well. So, keep that option open. because you don't want to waste your money, because you have to eventually pay it back. And if they can't get jobs, or you are unable to pay it back, then it just becomes a burden as a whole. You must think about all the people who have degrees and went to college, whether it be for the experience or to get a degree, and they don't have a job in that degree field, or they don't have the experience, or now they went from even being just something simple as a hairstylist and don't like it, and they're not using these skills, even though they can't take the ability away from you or the skills that you learn, but you don't want these skills that you obtain to go to waste. So I just wanted to create this video to give you more insight on what to do, about college planning, just where to go with it, what frame of mind you need to be in. As far as going to college, is it an option for you and your child? Because it's a family conversation. It's not just your kid, and things like that. One other thing that you may want to consider is if they go far, or will you be able to get them? Like, can you actually get there? If you're in Philly and they're in North Carolina, how will you get them there each time? How will you get them back on breaks? Is there anybody they could stay with down there to use the address to be able to get in-state funding? So these are just variables that you want to consider because, like I said, it's nothing like going down there or moving to another state and can't afford it. I think that's just very taxing on you. And who wants to be stressed out when you're trying to learn, and you should be directing your focus towards your grades because you can't afford college, or you get that notification at your door that sorry, you can't stay because you have a balance. And now your parent is starting a GoFundMe because they can't afford for you to stay. Also, if you know you're going, start now. If that's something you're trying to do, start, like I said, start looking at the school. Don't be afraid to go in-state. There are some wonderful schools that have a great reputation and are quite known in Philadelphia, if that's where you want to go. But I know Temple, there is Millersville, Bloomsburg, Kutztown, all those schools to get in-state funding. You had a Pell Grant. Like I said, make sure you explore the FAFSA page. Plan your journey. Get a planner. Start figuring out what you need to do. If you have a kid in 9th grade, like I said, start now looking for scholarships, having a conversation, getting them in extracurricular activities. Just because you have a 4.0 does not guarantee that you will get into the school of choice. Schools are looking for well-rounded students. They want people who have done extracurricular activities, who are part of, maybe an honor society, or, play basketball, track. Those are options as well. If you play a sport, you can get a scholarship. I would say start early. There have been times that students have been able to get a scholarship, later in their years, 11 and 12, but it could be very hard because now you need highlights or, things that will get you noticed. So start early. Joining basketball teams and running track and all those kind of things to be able to get additional funding. Those are ways as well. Don't be afraid of ROTC. And I know that people are not advocates for the military and may not like who's running the country right now, but that is also an option because, they'll pay for school. You may be able to get a trade and things like that. So there are many options that you must explore and that you can. There's so many things out there to explore and talk about and to keep your child busy. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room, that we must keep our child, busy, or children busy, to save them from themselves because, there's so many influences out here right now, peer pressure, social media, they get those influences. Everybody think it's cool, to be cool, and it's okay to be a little lame. It's okay to be a weirdo, but I think weird keeps you safe. So if you're watching this live, make sure you share it out. If you have any questions, you definitely could email